A classic fairy tale with a battle between good and evil. The evil stepmother envies Snow White's beauty and plots to harm her. Will Snow White overcome all challenges and find happiness? Watch now to discover magic, true love, and lessons of courage and friendship. In a faraway kingdom, there was a beautiful princess named Snow White. She lived with her father, but her mother passed away when she was young. The king remarried a beautiful woman, but she was wicked. Stepmother, standing in front of the magic mirror, asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" Magic mirror, calmly answering, "In the past, you were the fairest of all, my queen. But now, Snow White, the princess of the kingdom, has grown up and is far more beautiful than you." Stepmother, face turning pale with anger, "I was once the most beautiful of all, but now Snow White is far more beautiful. I cannot allow this." The stepmother grows furious and decides to do something about Snow White, seeing her as a threat to her beauty. Jealousy takes over, and she plans to get rid of Snow White once and for all. In the palace, Snow White is playing joyfully in the garden. Her stepmother stands before the magic mirror, jealous of Snow White's beauty, and orders the servant to banish her stepmother, face turning pale with anger. "I cannot let her be more beautiful than me. I must act immediately." Then the stepmother calls the servant and orders coldly. Stepmother, ordering with a cold tone, "Take the princess into the forest and make her disappear forever. Don't let her return." Servant, hesitating, feeling uneasy, "My queen, I cannot do this. The princess is kind and innocent. I cannot harm her." Stepmother, firmly not changing her decision, "Do as I say. If she lives, I will no longer be the fairest." The servant looks at Snow White, with eyes full of sympathy and helplessness. Servant, hesitating, with a sad voice, "Princess, I can't do anything else. The queen has ordered me, but I won't harm you. I will take you into the forest, where no one can find you." Snow White, fearfully, looking at the servant, "Why is mother doing this to me? Why is she sending me away?" Servant, torn, unable to answer, "I'm sorry, princess, I don't want to do this, but I must follow the queen's orders." Snow White is heartbroken and cries. The servant cannot bring himself to harm her, so he takes her into the deep forest where no one can find her. Snow White, crying, walking into the forest, "Mother, don't you love me anymore? What will I do now?" Snow White wanders deeper into the forest, where only darkness surrounds her. She doesn't know where to go, but knows there's nowhere to hide anymore. Snow White wandered through the forest feeling tired and hungry. She walked alone, unsure of where to go, and only knew that she was far from everything. Finally, she found a small, cozy cottage in the woods. She knocked on the door and entered. Inside, the space was cozy and well-equipped, but there was no one home. Snow White looked around and saw several small beds, a wooden table, and chairs scattered around. She was tired and sat on one of the beds, feeling safer now that she wasn't wandering alone in the woods. After a while, the 7 dwarfs returned home from their work in the forest. They were surprised to find a stranger in their house. Dwarf 1, cheerfully laughing, "Oh, someone's here. Hello there, who are you?" Snow White, panicking, looking around, "I'm Snow White, the princess who was banished by my stepmother. I have nowhere to go." Dwarf 2, cheerfully inviting Snow White inside, "Stay with us. We're happy to have a friend like you." Dwarf 5, speaking gently, smiling, "Don't worry, you'll be safe here. We'll take care of you like family." Dwarf 3, looking at Snow White for a moment, speaking, "We don't usually have visitors, but we're so glad you're here. Feel at home." Dwarf 6, slightly worried, speaking, "But we need to protect her from danger. Her stepmother will surely not give up." Dwarf 7, cheerfully adding, "We'll keep her safe. She doesn't need to worry anymore." Snow White felt at peace, knowing she had found a safe place to stay, with wonderful new friends. She smiled and thanked the dwarfs. Snow White, smiling, thanking the dwarfs, "Thank you so much. I don't know what I would do without you. You're so kind." The stepmother stood before the magic mirror, filled with jealousy, asking the mirror about her beauty. Stepmother, evil smile, asking the mirror, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Magic mirror, calmly answering, in the past you were the fairest of all, my queen. But now Snow White, the princess of the kingdom, is far more beautiful than you. Stepmother, angry, shouting, impossible, I ordered her to be killed. Magic mirror, calmly answering, Snow White is still alive and she is now in the cottage of the 7 dwarfs in the forest. The stepmother, angry and determined to defeat Snow White, transforms into an ugly old woman so no one would recognize her. She prepares a poisoned apple, a deadly gift for Snow White. Stepmother, evil laugh in the form of the old woman. Princess Snow White, this apple will make you sleep forever and no one can save you. The stepmother takes the poisoned apple to the cottage of the 7 dwarfs. She knocks on the door and calls for Snow White to come out. Stepmother, with a sweet voice, persuading, Princess, this apple is so sweet, try it, you'll feel so happy. Snow White, naive, not suspecting anything, thank you, the apple looks wonderful. Snow White took a bite and immediately fell into a deep sleep. The stepmother laughed wickedly and walked away. Snow White lay motionless, while the dwarfs were still away from the cottage. The 7 dwarfs returned to their small cottage after a long day of work in the forest. They walked into the house and saw Snow White lying motionless on her bed. No one knew what had happened, but they immediately sensed something was wrong. Dwarf 3, panicking, running to Snow White's bed. Oh no! Snow White, what happened to her? Why is she lying like this? Dwarf 4, looking at the poisoned apple that had fallen to the ground. She ate the poisoned apple. The evil witch has harmed her. Dwarf 2, determined, speaking softly. Is there nothing we can do? Will she sleep like this forever? The dwarfs place Snow White in the glass coffin and keep watch over her in silence. A sorrowful atmosphere fills the cottage. The prince happens to pass by. One day the prince rides through the forest and sees the cottage of the 7 dwarfs, with Snow White lying inside the glass coffin. The prince enters the house and sees Snow White. The prince enters, seeing the dwarfs standing around the coffin, looking at Snow White with sorrowful eyes. He approaches, feeling true love in his heart. The prince bends down and gently kisses Snow White's lips. Suddenly, a miracle happens, and Snow White awakens. A happy ending. Snow White opens her eyes, smiles, and feels the prince's love. The 2 of them live happily ever after, while the evil stepmother is punished for her cruel deeds.
Thank you for supporting Stories to Tell for Kids at STFcade 2024. Share our channel with your friends so they can join the adventure too. See you in the next story.